Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the show where we sift through articles, research, our own insights, really, to bring you those essential nuggets of knowledge. We want to help you become truly well-informed. And today, we're jumping into something pretty fascinating. The language of learning, an advanced word list.
That's right. And our mission really is to unpack, I think it's over 30 C1 level words all about education.
Yeah.
And it's not just, dictionary definitions. It's more about getting into their context, their subtle implications. And, well, crucially, how mastering them helps you navigate, well, pretty much everything from, say, school administration stuff right through to complex academic debates.
Exactly. Yeah. So whether you're maybe trying to refine your understanding for a big meeting, or perhaps exploring a new academic field, or maybe you're just driven by that, that curiosity about the precise words we use when we talk about learning.
Yeah.
This deep dive is kind of your shortcut to being genuinely well-informed.
And I think what's really powerful here is how these words, when you really grasp their nuances, they paint a much richer picture, right? A more intricate view of the whole educational landscape.
Richer picture, I like that.
Yeah, we're going to look way beyond just simple definitions. We want to uncover how these terms reflect, these deep-seated systems, the different roles people actually play, and the complex tapestry of experiences within learning environments.
Absolutely. Each word, it sort of offers a unique aha moment, doesn't it? Revealing those subtle differences that are just crucial for precise communication.
Exactly.
And ultimately, for a much deeper understanding of this huge world of education, those aha moments, that's what we're really after today.
Definitely.
All right, so let's start maybe by looking at the core cast.
Yeah.
The people and roles in education. We can begin at the top, maybe with leadership.
Okay.
Then move through those who, maintain the environment, and maybe even touch on individuals navigating different kinds of educational paths.
Sounds like a solid plan. Our first term then is principal.
Okay.
So this is a noun, obviously. It refers to the person in charge of running a school. Our source material gives a pretty clear example. The principal introduced a new program to support teachers in the classroom.
Right. You hear principal, and you might picture someone just, overseeing the day-to-day stuff. But that role, it's really evolved, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
What's the sort of modern scope of their influence, especially beyond just managing the staff?
Yeah, you've really hit on something important there. The principal's role, it's transformed hugely. It used to be mainly administrative oversight, right? Now it's this demanding mix of pedagogical leadership, sharp crisis management, and just incredible adaptability. They're often right on the front lines, dealing with everything from student mental health issues, rapid shifts in ed tech, complex community relations, even political pressures sometimes.
Yeah, I bet.
Their influence, it directly impacts student well-being and, of course, academic outcomes. It makes their position incredibly strategic.
So when a principal introduces a new program, like in that example, it's not just a management thing. It's really a strategic move reflecting what? Educational foresight, community building, and a deep understanding of the school's resilience.
Precisely. Their leadership fundamentally shapes the whole institutional culture. Everything from student engagement to, say, teacher retention. It's a massive responsibility, really embodying the institution's vision.
It sounds like an enormous amount of responsibility, definitely. Is there a risk, though, perhaps, that a principal's focus might lean too heavily towards the admin side, maybe overlooking the day-to-day teaching needs?
That's a very keen observation, and it really highlights a constant balancing act they face. The administrative demands are huge budgets, facilities, regulations, just the sheer amount of paperwork.
Right.
But the most effective principals, the really great ones, they're the ones who keep a strong connection to the instructional core of the school.
I see.
They get that their main role, beyond managing the nuts and bolts, is fostering an environment where teaching and learning can actually flourish.
This often means strategically delegating some admin tasks, sure, but always keeping an eye on the curriculum, teacher development, and definitely student outcomes. It really demands a holistic perspective.
A holistic view. That makes perfect sense. And speaking of that instructional core, let's look at educator.
Okay.
Another noun. Someone whose job is to teach people. The example given highlights its broad scope. The museum offers educational programs led by educators to engage visitors of all ages.
Yeah.
How does educator compare or maybe contrast with just teacher? It feels like it covers more than just the classroom, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The term educator often implies a much broader scope, sort of expanded beyond the traditional K-12 classroom.
Right.
I mean, while every teacher is an educator, by definition, not all educators are classroom teachers in that traditional sense.
Okay.
Like that museum example shows really well, an educator could work in all sorts of informal learning spots: zoos, community centers, online platforms, even corporate training.
Huh. The term often suggests a broader commitment, maybe even a philosophical one, to lifelong learning. A passion for imparting knowledge, fostering curiosity, no matter the setting or the age group.
Right.
It really highlights the vast, diverse spaces where teaching and learning actually happen, often way beyond formal schools.
So yeah, an expansive role,
Hmm.
reaching far beyond the classroom. But what about those roles that are maybe less visible, the ones foundational to making sure the learning environment itself is maintained? I'm thinking here of the janitor.
Ah, yes, an absolutely essential role. This noun describes someone whose job is cleaning and taking care of a school or another building. The example from our material is, I think, quite telling. The janitor's hard work often goes unnoticed, but it is essential to maintaining a healthy environment.
They really are the unsung heroes, aren't they?
Hmm.
Keeping things clean. But beyond just tidiness, what's their deeper contribution to the learning environment, particularly around health and safety? You're right to look deeper. The janitor's role isn't just about keeping things neat. It's fundamentally about creating and maintaining a conducive and, crucially, a healthy learning space.
Hmm.
If a school isn't clean, if it isn't safe, with proper sanitation, working facilities, attention to hazards that directly impact student well-being, their ability to focus,
Right.
and just the overall running of the school. Think about public health, too. Their work is critical in stopping illnesses from spreading. That directly affects attendance and learning continuity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their work, which often seems behind the scenes, truly underpins the whole educational effort. It ensures students and staff have the best conditions to thrive and focus on learning.
That makes total sense. It's about the whole ecosystem of the school, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every part matters. Okay, moving from maintenance now to maybe mastery. Our next word is scholar.
A scholar, a noun describing someone who has a lot of knowledge about a particular subject, especially, it notes, in the humanities, for example. She is a scholar whose research has significantly contributed to our understanding of classical languages.
Mm-hmm.
This term really emphasizes depth of knowledge and rigorous intellectual work, right?
Especially with that mention of the humanities.
It truly does.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really insightful about being a scholar isn't just having vast knowledge, though, that's foundational.
Sure.
It's crucially about actively contributing to that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Through original, rigorous research, critical analysis, sustained intellectual inquiry, it speaks to a deep, often lifelong dedication to a field.
Lifelong dedication.
Yeah. And the emphasis on the humanities in the definition is interesting. Fields like classical languages, philosophy, history, literature, they often involve deep interpretation, understanding the human experience, challenging existing ideas.
A true scholar pushes the boundaries of what we know, often dedicating their lives to understanding and advancing their subject through that sometimes slow process of peer review and intellectual debate.
Pushing boundaries. I like that. Now let's shift gears a bit. A term that often carries, let's be honest, a negative vibe, but it's important. Dropout. A noun, someone who leaves school or college before finishing. But the example offers a slightly more hopeful angle. The dropout decided to enroll in a vocational training program to gain new skills and improve his job prospects.
That's a key nuance.
It certainly challenges the common idea that dropping out is always, a dead end. What are some of the less discussed systemic reasons someone might choose that path? What does it tell us about alternative educational journeys?
That's a really vital perspective to bring in because the reasons people drop out are incredibly complex, multifaceted. They rarely fit one simple story.
Right. We shouldn't judge.
Exactly. We need to challenge that single, often quite judgmental stereotype. People leave traditional paths for all sorts of reasons. Money troubles, family duties, mental health challenges, or sometimes just realizing the conventional academic structure isn't right for their learning style or career goals. And that example of vocational training is brilliant. It shows leaving a conventional path doesn't mean the end of learning or career hopes.
No.
In fact, for many, vocational programs, apprenticeships, maybe starting a business, these can be really effective, practical, direct routes to skills and meaningful work. They offer valuable second chances or maybe just different first chances for people to learn on their own terms.
That's a great way to put it.
It really speaks to the diverse pathways to success beyond just a linear academic track. And it points to the need for education systems to be, well, more flexible and responsive to different student needs.
A truly vital perspective. Acknowledging all those different paths. And related to not attending school, we have truant. Now, this noun specifically refers to a student who doesn't have permission for not attending school. The key is without permission. The example highlights the consequences. Being truant can lead to serious academic consequences and disciplinary actions.
Right.
How is this fundamentally different from just skipping, which we'll actually get to later? And why is this distinction so crucial for schools, especially in how they respond?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is that absolute emphasis on without permission in the definition of truancy.
Right.
Being truant isn't just missing a class here or there. It's specifically an unauthorized absence from mandatory attendance.
Okay.
Schools track truancy not mainly for punishment, though that can be part of it. It's often a major red flag for underlying issues, academic struggles, social problems, disengagement, maybe even problems at home.
I see.
Consistent attendance is fundamental for academic progress, right? It ensures students don't miss crucial sequential learning, can join discussions, develop discipline. So schools use disciplinary actions not just to deter truancy, but crucially, to intervene, to try and address those root causes and get students back on track.
Right, intervention.
Yeah, maybe connecting families with support, offering counseling, adjusting academic plans, recognizing it's a systemic concern, not just breaking a rule.
That makes perfect sense. It's about the systemic impact and the school's duty of care.
Okay.
Okay, let's move into our next section then. The dynamics of engagement and disciplinary actions.
All right.
These are the processes and actions that really define how students interact with the educational system getting in, maybe facing consequences.
The mechanics of the system, you could say. Our first word here is admission.
Okay.
This noun is defined as the permission given to someone to become a student of a school, enter an organization, etc. The example they give is actually about a concert. Admission to the concert is included with the purchase of a festival pass.
Right, a broader context there. But let's bring this straight to education. What makes admission such a big deal, often a complex process, in the academic world? It's clearly more than just buying a ticket.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In education, admission is way more than just getting in. It's the fundamental gateway to formal learning and intellectual growth within that specific institution.
Gateway, good word.
It's the point where a college grants permission for someone to join their academic community. This often involves tough applications, meeting specific academic standards, showing certain skills. It can be super competitive, especially for top programs or universities. Admission committees aren't just looking at grades. They're trying to build a diverse class, looking at essays, recommendations, extracurriculars.
The whole picture.
Exactly. So that permission part is key. It signifies a thorough evaluation, and frankly, not everyone who applies gets in. It's often the first major hurdle for aspiring students, and it really shapes their academic path right from the start. It often signals what an institution values too.
And once you have that admission, your attendance becomes absolutely critical. This noun just means the state of being present at an event or place. Our material gives a business example. The company encourages attendance at team meetings to ensure effective communication and collaboration.
Right.
How does this translate to its crucial, often non-negotiable role in education? Why is just showing up so fundamental?
Well, the link between consistent attendance and academic success is, well, it's incredibly direct in almost all educational settings.
Yeah.
Unlike, say, an optional work meeting. In school, being physically present is often non-negotiable for several key reasons. It ensures you understand sequential learning, things build on each other, right?
Right.
It allows for active participation in discussions and lets students get direct instruction and immediate feedback from the educator. And beyond just getting information, it also helps students develop those crucial life skills. Discipline of punctuality, responsibility, consistent engagement skills that are invaluable later in any job. So yeah, it's fundamental because active participation and regular, uninterrupted exposure to the material are core to understanding, developing critical thinking, and overall skill development. It directly impacts grades and long-term learning.
Building on that, sometimes a lack of attendance or maybe other rule breaking can lead to detention.
Ah, detention.
This noun is a type of punishment for students who have done something wrong, preventing them from going home at the same time as others.
Mm,
The material clarifies its purpose. Detention is often used as a disciplinary measure to deter students from breaking school rules.
yeah.
It's a common measure, sure. But how effective do you actually think it is in the long run? And what does its continued use suggest about how we approach student discipline?
That's an important question, actually. It makes us think about the philosophy behind discipline strategies. Detention serves mainly as an immediate consequence, designed to stop students repeating bad behavior.
Right, deterrence.
The why is usually twofold. First, to give a structured time for reflecting on the misbehavior, emphasizing why rules matter for the whole community.
I think. Second, it imposes a minor but tangible consequence, usually losing free time, which acts as a disincentive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, its effectiveness. It can vary widely, depending on the student, the underlying issues. Its widespread use reflects a belief in direct, time-bound consequences. But yeah, modern educational thinking increasingly questions if it truly addresses the root causes of misbehavior or just suppresses symptoms. This is leading to more interest in alternatives, like restorative justice, which focus on repairing harm and teaching conflict resolution.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, from punishment to recognition, let's talk about something much more positive.
Hmm?
To confer.
Ah, yes.
This verb means to give an official degree, title, right, etc., to someone. The example from the material is perfect. The university conferred a bachelor's degree on the graduating students. A big moment.
Huge moment.
This highlights the formality and the sort of profound official nature of the act, doesn't it? It's not just giving a degree. No, it's far more than that. The significance of this act is really fascinating. It's a formal recognition of achievement, right? The endpoint of years of dedicated, often hard study.
Right.
Degrees and titles aren't just given, they are conferred. That implies a solemn, official act by a university, an institution that has carefully evaluated the student's mastery.
Authority.
Exactly. It underscores the weight and authority of the university in granting such a prestigious mark of accomplishment. It symbolizes the student's tough intellectual journey, their mastery of a subject, successfully navigating a demanding path. It's a formal validation of their intellectual growth and capability. It's like the institution's seal of approval on their readiness to contribute.
Powerful word, confer. Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum, from conferring a degree, we have the verb to expel.
Serious one.
This means to force someone to leave a place, organization, etc. Our material gives a stark example. The school expelled him for cheating. A very serious outcome. What kind of offenses typically lead to such an extreme measure? And what are the underlying reasons institutions resort to something as severe as expulsion? What are the long-term implications for the student?
Yeah, the severity of expulsion really can't be overstated. Institutions usually only resort to it for the most serious offenses, acts that fundamentally undermine academic integrity, safety, or the core values of the school community.
Like what?
Well, severe cheating or plagiarism, violent behavior, harassment, maybe repeated, unaddressed disregard for fundamental rules.
Okay.
Why do they do it? Mainly to maintain the sanctity of academic honesty, ensure the physical and emotional safety of others, and uphold the institution's basic principles.
Right.
Expulsion signals that the student's actions are just irreconcilable with the school's expectations and environment, leading to their permanent removal.
And for the student.
For the student, it often has significant, lasting impacts on their future educational prospects. It can make getting into other institutions incredibly hard. It really is a last resort when all other interventions have failed.
Right. Preserving the integrity and safety for everyone else. Now, earlier we touched on truant. Let's clearly distinguish that from to skip.
Okay.
This verb means to not do an activity on purpose, particularly one that one is supposed to do or usually does. The on purpose is interesting there. The example is broad. Feeling overwhelmed with tasks, she chose to skip the optional after-work event. But we can easily apply this to school, like skipping a lecture. What's the key difference in nuance and consequence here compared to being truant?
Well, what's really fascinating here is that crucial nuance of intent and permission that sharply separates skipping from being truant.
Intent and permission.
Yeah. To skip an activity, like the definition says, implies a conscious, intentional choice. Maybe for personal reasons, feeling overwhelmed, prioritizing something else, just opting out of something optional.
Right.
While skipping can still have consequences, maybe you miss important info, maybe it affects a grade, it doesn't carry the same disciplinary weight or systemic concern as truancy, because truancy is unauthorized.
Okay.
Truancy specifically means an unauthorized absence from a mandatory school activity, which schools are legally required to track because of its link to academic progress and student welfare. So you might skip an optional lecture or a study group, but you'd be considered truant if you missed a whole mandatory school day without any official permission. It's the presence or absence of that institutional permission and the mandatory nature of the activity that really defines the severity and the school's response.
That distinction is absolutely crucial for C1 level understanding. Okay, finally in this section we have to flag.
Okay.
This verb means to put or draw a mark on something to make it more noticeable. The example is about an editor. The editor decided to flag significant quotes in the manuscript for potential use in promotional material, common practice in editing. But how does this apply in a student's academic context? And beyond just helping memory, what deeper cognitive benefits does flagging offer as a study technique?
The practical and actually quite powerful application of flagging in a student's own research writing study process. It's incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
For students, to flag important information, whether it's in textbooks, notes, research papers, means actively engaging with the material, identifying key passages, arguments, data points specifically for later use.
Right, for retrieval.
Exactly. Why is this so helpful beyond just simple recall? Well, it actively aids memory during revision, sure, but it also helps streamline extracting critical info when you're writing essays or prepping presentations.
Makes sense.
More profoundly, though, it requires a student to think critically about what's most essential, to synthesize and prioritize information from dense material. It transforms passive reading into an interactive process that highlights what really resonates or what's most important for you to remember and use later. It promotes deeper understanding and efficient knowledge management.
That's a habit every serious learner should probably adopt. All right, let's pivot now to our third section, academic journeys and higher achievements.
Okay, the milestones.
Exactly. These are the milestones and structural elements that really define higher education and academic progress.
Yeah.
We start with a pretty formidable piece of work, the dissertation.
Ah, the big one for many. Indeed. This noun is a long piece of writing on a particular subject that a university student presents to get an advanced degree. Our material adds a key detail. The university requires students to defend their dissertation before a committee.
The defense, yeah. This truly is a capstone project for many, right? Symbolizing years of intense study. What makes the dissertation process not just a test of knowledge, but a transformative intellectual journey?
Well, what's profoundly insightful about the dissertation is the rigorous and multifaceted process involved. It's way more than just a long paper.
Right.
It demands extensive original research, sophisticated critical analysis, and that unique ability to contribute genuinely new knowledge or a novel perspective to a field.
Do knowledge.
Yeah. And the defense part you mentioned, that is absolutely critical. It's the ultimate demonstration of intellectual mastery. It requires the student not just to explain complex ideas coherently, but to defend their methods, their findings, their interpretations under intense scrutiny from a committee of experts.
Intense scrutiny sounds right.
It really is. It's the ultimate test of a student's intellectual independence, their scholarly rigor, their capacity for sustained, deep inquiry before they're deemed worthy of that advanced degree. It's a transition really from being a consumer of knowledge to becoming a producer of knowledge.
Sounds daunting, but incredibly rewarding. And for many, the ultimate advanced degree is the doctorate. This noun is simply defined as the highest degree given by a university. The example shows its career implications clearly. After obtaining her doctorate, she joined the faculty as an assistant professor at a prestigious university. This is truly seen as the pinnacle of academic achievement. What does earning a doctorate really signify beyond just being the highest degree? What's the substantive contribution expected from someone holding this?
Yeah. Connecting this to the bigger picture, a doctorate signifies profound specialized expertise, an unparalleled depth of knowledge in a specific field.
Right.
It represents not just years of intense study, but often a significant period of original research and the proven ability to conduct independent scholarly work that actually advances the field.
Advancing the field.
Exactly. The example clearly shows its connection to careers in academia and advanced research. Why is it so important in society? Well, Holders of doctorates are often the people driving innovation, conducting groundbreaking research that pushes the boundaries of human understanding, and, crucially, teaching the next generation of scholars and professionals. They are fundamental contributors to the advancement of knowledge, critical thinking, and often serve as thought leaders shaping public discourse and policy in their areas.
That makes sense. Now, before you even get close to a doctorate, if you're pursuing higher ed in the U.S., you might very well encounter the GRE.
Ah, the GRE.
This noun is a test that must be passed in the U.S. by students who want to continue their education after their first degree. The graduate record examination. The example provides a typical scenario. She registered to take the GRE exam at a testing center near her university.
Familiar to many.
Yes, a standardized test many grad school hopefuls are maybe painfully familiar with.
Right.
What's the fundamental purpose of a test like the GRE in the whole graduate admissions process? And what are some of the ongoing debates about its role?
Well, what's particularly illuminating here is the underlying purpose of standardized tests like the GRE. They're designed to give graduate admissions committees a common objective measure.
Objective measure.
A way to evaluate readiness for advanced academic work, especially given the diverse undergraduate backgrounds people come from. It assesses analytical writing, verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning skills abilities considered foundational for success in grad school.
The debates.
Right. However, the role of the GRE, much like the SAT, has been debated extensively. Critics question its predictive validity for success beyond the first year and raise equity concerns, as access to test prep can vary hugely based on socioeconomic background.
Right, test prep costs.
Exactly. Many programs are now making it optional, actually, signaling a shift towards a more holistic review of applicants, recognizing that a single test score doesn't capture everything.
Okay, so standardization, but with recognized limits. And its undergraduate counterpart, very often, is the SAT. This noun is a test that high school students take before college or university in the U.S. The example points to preparation. She registered for an SAT prep course to help her prepare for the exam and boost her scores, the Scholastic Assessment Test.
The SAT.
So, similar function to the GRE, perhaps, but for a different stage. How does the SAT fit into the broader college admissions landscape today, especially with these ongoing debates?
Just as the GRE serves as a benchmark for grad admissions, the SAT plays a similar, though, as you say, increasingly debated role for undergraduate admissions. Right. It's one of the main standardized tests historically taken by high school students in the U.S. to show readiness for college-level work. The prep courses, like the example highlights, are a huge industry because, historically, a strong SAT score could significantly boost a college application, showing skills in critical reading, writing, math. While many universities are indeed adopting test-optional policies, a huge shift driven by equity and holistic review concerns for many institutions, it still remains a factor, sometimes a significant one.
Why?
Well, colleges use it to try and compare applicants from a vast array of high schools and backgrounds, attempting to standardize a very varied applicant pool. The debate continues on whether it truly levels the playing field or actually creates new barriers.
Right, that standardization goal with its inherent challenges. Now, when you actually start a new course, your roadmap is usually the syllabus.
Ah, the syllabus.
This noun is a document that outlines the topics, assignments, and expectations for a course. The example clearly lays out its contents. The syllabus for the psychology class lists the textbooks, course objectives, and schedule of lectures and exams.
The course Bible, some call it.
Exactly. It truly is a student's guide, isn't it? But what makes it truly foundational? You suggested earlier it's almost like a contract between the student and the instructor. Can you expand on that?
Yes, it's fascinating because beyond just listing tasks and deadlines, the syllabus acts almost like a pedagogical contract, a foundational agreement between the instructor and the learners.
A contract, okay.
It's absolutely crucial for managing expectations, letting students plan their time effectively, understanding the course's scope and objectives right from day one. But maybe more profoundly, it subtly communicates the instructor's teaching philosophy, the intellectual journey they envision for the course, and the specific expectations for engagement, which can vary wildly between fields and teaching styles.
Right.
It sets the academic tone, provides transparency on grading, outlines everyone's responsibilities, ensuring a clear, structured path through the learning journey. It's way more than just a list of dates. It's a living document defining the learning partnership.
It really sounds like it. And often within that syllabus, you'll see a course broken down into smaller chunks, into modules.
Yes, modules.
This noun is defined as a unit of study within a course offered by a college or university covering a specific topic or area of study. The example illustrates this well. The module on financial accounting introduces students to basic concepts and principles of accounting, breaking it down. So a modular approach means dividing a larger course into these digestible building blocks. What are the pedagogical benefits of structuring learning this way, especially for complex subjects?
Well, what's particularly insightful here are the significant pedagogical benefits of modular learning, breaking down complex subjects into more manageable, focused units. It often makes the material far less overwhelming for students.
That's overwhelming. Good.
And usually allows for a more concentrated, deeper dive into a specific topic or skill set. Why is this structure so effective, especially in higher ed? It lets students master one concept before moving to the next, fostering a more solid cumulative understanding.
Okay.
It also often facilitates self-paced learning within the module structure, provides clear benchmarks for progress, and allows for more flexibility in course design, potentially adapting to diverse learning needs.
Reduces cognitive load.
Exactly. Reduces cognitive load, improves retention, and makes large bodies of knowledge feel more accessible by providing clear pathways for mastery. It's a very common and often highly effective way to structure advanced education.
Excellent. That covers some key structural elements. Let's move into our fourth section, describing the learning experience adjectives that define education.
The qualitative aspects.
Yes. These are words that give us a deeper understanding of the nature of learning itself, how our minds work, the different kinds of programs available.
Right. Our first adjective is cognitive.
Cognitive.
This term refers to mental processes involved in understanding, thinking, and remembering. The example makes it clear. Problem solving requires cognitive skills, such as critical thinking and decision-making.
This really gets right to the core of how our brains engage with and process information, doesn't it? Beyond just absorbing facts, what's the deeper significance of understanding learning from a cognitive perspective?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is the central, indispensable role of cognitive processes in all learning. Education isn't just passively absorbing facts. It's fundamentally about actively developing, refining, exercising our mental capabilities.
Yeah, no muscles.
Exactly. Why are skills like critical thinking, problem-solving, decision-making so essential? Because they let us analyze information effectively, see patterns, form good judgments, apply knowledge flexibly in new situations. Understanding the cognitive aspect helps educators design better curricula, scaffold learning experiences properly, address specific learning challenges. It underscores the brain's incredibly active, dynamic role in acquiring and using knowledge. Education, at its heart, aims to strengthen these very mental muscles, equipping people to navigate and make sense of an increasingly complex, information-rich world.
Thinking beyond just the classroom structure now, we have the adjective extracurricular.
Okay.
This means not included in the regular course of study at a college or school. The example illustrates the balancing act. He balanced his academic coursework with extracurricular commitments, such as volunteering at a local charity.
That balance.
So activities outside the core curriculum, what's the true, often overlooked value of these activities in shaping a well-rounded individual, especially today? Are they just nice-to-haves or something more?
I'd argue they're much more than just nice-to-haves. It poses an important question about what really makes up a well-rounded education now in the 21st century. Extracurricular activities are incredibly valuable for holistic development because they offer a different kind of learning that complements academics perfectly. Well, academic work focuses mainly on intellectual growth, specialized knowledge, but activities like volunteering, sports, clubs, arts, they help students develop tons of critical soft skills: leadership, teamwork, time management, resilience, negotiation.
Right, soft skills.
And often a deeper sense of community or social responsibility. Why is balancing these with academics, like in the example, so important? Because it provides crucial opportunities for personal growth, skill development, self-discovery that go way beyond what you typically learn in a classroom. It contributes to creating a more complete, adaptable, socially aware person. They bridge the gap between theory and practice in a social context, and they often play a big role in college admissions, too.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, learning needs to be fast and incredibly focused. And for that, we use the adjective Intensive.
Intensive, yes.
This describes something involving a lot of effort, attention, and activity in a short period of time, like a boot camp for learning. The example perfectly captures this. She took an intensive English course to improve her language skills quickly. These programs are certainly demanding. What are the specific pedagogical benefits, but also the inherent challenges of this kind of high-intensity approach?
Well, what's particularly insightful here are the specific benefits and, yes, the inherent challenges of these intensive learning environments. Why are courses like that intensive English one designed for rapid skill acquisition?
Proceed.
Essentially, yeah. They condense a huge amount of material and practice into a much shorter time frame. It demands exceptionally high levels of concentration, dedication, active engagement from the learner.
Right.
They're most effective when someone has a very specific, immediate need to get skills quickly, maybe before an overseas assignment, a critical exam, a job requirement.
Makes sense.
However, the challenge lies in the potential for burnout, the risk of superficial learning if depth is sacrificed for speed,
Superficial learning.
and the need for rigorous self-discipline to absorb and retain info at such a fast pace. It's about maximizing learning efficiency in a compressed period, but it's definitely not suited for everyone or every type of learning. Often needs a good foundation already.
Fair enough. Moving to a truly fundamental skill, we have literate.
Literate.
This adjective simply means having the skills to read and write. The example highlights its profound importance. The ability to be literate is a fundamental human right and essential for participation in society. Absolutely fundamental.
Truly.
It really is foundational to so much else, isn't it? But how is the definition of literacy evolving in the 21st century? What does that mean for educational systems and individuals?
The profound societal importance of literacy just cannot be overstated. Why is it considered a fundamental human right, as the example says? Because reading and writing is the indispensable gateway to information, communication, critical thinking in nearly every aspect of modern life. However, the definition of literacy is rapidly expanding beyond just basic reading and writing. Today, it increasingly includes digital literacy, navigating online info, understanding algorithms,
Digital literacy, yeah.
media literacy, critically evaluating news, financial literacy, managing money, even health literacy.
Now, just broadening.
Absolutely. This evolving definition means education systems have to adapt to equip people with a broader skill set to fully participate in a complex, interconnected world where navigating information overload and spotting credible sources is paramount. Without widespread literacy in its broadest sense, many other forms of education and progress become incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
That truly underscores its evolving importance. Now, sometimes an institution or maybe a program holds a particularly high standing, and we describe it as prestigious.
Prestigious.
This adjective means having a lot of respect, honor, and admiration in a particular field or society. Our example is from golf. The prestigious golf tournament attracts elite players from across the globe.
Right.
Applying that to education. Beyond the obvious factors, how do we unpack what truly contributes to an institution gaining this coveted prestigious status? And what are the implications for students and the wider educational landscape when certain institutions hold such sway?
Well, what's particularly fascinating here is why certain universities or programs achieve and keep a prestigious reputation. It's rarely just one thing.
Yeah.
It's usually a complex mix. A long history of academic excellence, often groundbreaking research, the exceptional quality and fame of their faculty.
Same as professors.
Exactly. And significantly, the notable success and influence of their alumni network. But beyond that, prestige often involves careful brand management, endowment size, even impressive architecture.
Right, the whole package.
Now, why does this matter broadly? Attending or graduating from a prestigious institution can indeed open certain doors, give access to powerful networks.
Right.
However, it also raises questions about equity and access, as these institutions are often highly selective and expensive, contributing to a stratified educational system.
Stratified system.
Yeah. Prestige reflects a societal value placed not just on perceived excellence, but also, sometimes, on exclusivity within education. It sets a benchmark others aspire to, but also creates significant barriers for many.
Interesting point about exclusivity.
Yeah.
Now, moving from the potentially purely academic to the intensely practical, we have vocational.
Vocational.
This adjective means involving the necessary knowledge or skills for a certain occupation. The example reinforces this. Vocational qualifications demonstrate proficiency in specialized fields. Right. focus on a specific job or trade.
Mm-hmm.
This contrasts quite sharply with purely academic studies, doesn't it? Why is this vocational pathway increasingly recognized as vital today? And how does it challenge traditional views of educational value?
This raises an important question about the diverse, and I'd argue equally valid pathways to skills and jobs in our modern economy.
Equally valid.
Definitely. There's increasing recognition and importance placed on vocational education precisely because it prepares people directly and specifically for particular careers and skilled trades.
Right.
Unlike broader academic degrees, which often focus more on theory, vocational programs are typically highly practical. They focus on hands-on training, industry-specific certifications, the exact skills needed for a job right now.
Hands-on.
We saw this earlier with the dropout who found success in a vocational program, right?
Yeah, we did.
It highlights that these pathways are often incredibly effective, efficient, and absolutely necessary for meeting the immediate demands of the modern workforce. They provide direct routes to productive, meaningful employment for many, often at lower cost and with faster entry into the workforce. And that challenges the long-held idea that a 4-year academic degree is the only way to succeed.
Indeed. Not every path to expertise is found solely in a traditional lecture hall. Let's gear up for our final sections now. Let's move into our 5th section, exploring academic settings and fields of study.
Okay.
Here, we'll look at specific environments within education and also touch on some diverse academic disciplines, broadening the scope. First up, the chair.
The chair, not the furniture. Exactly. This noun, in an academic context, means the position that a university professor holds. The example is very clear. She was elected to the chair of the history department after demonstrating exceptional leadership skills. This is quite a specific and rather authoritative usage, isn't it? Far removed from furniture.
Yes, very different. What's particularly fascinating here is the profound significance of holding a chair in a university department. It represents much more than just being a senior professor.
Okay.
It signifies preeminent academic leadership, deep scholarly recognition in one's field, and it often involves substantial administrative and strategic duties too.
Admin duties, too.
Oh, yeah. Why is it so important within the university structure?
Hmm.
The person holding the chair typically guides the department's research direction, oversees faculty development and hiring, shapes the curriculum significantly, represents the department internally and externally.
They really embody both academic authority and significant administrative responsibility. They profoundly influence the intellectual direction, the culture, the resource allocation of an entire academic unit, navigating complex academic politics, diverse faculty.
A weighty position indeed. Now, for something maybe a bit more lighthearted, a stark contrast perhaps, field day.
Field day, fun.
This noun describes a day on which no classes are held and students take part in sports games. The example sets the scene. The highlight of the field day was the tug-of-war competition between the different grade levels, a classic, fun, non-academic school event. Why are these seemingly simple days actually quite valuable in the broader educational experience beyond just letting off steam?
Well, letting off steam is definitely part of it, but what's truly insightful here is the importance of intentionally adding recreational and physical activities into the school year.
Right.
Why are field days valuable beyond just being a fun break? They provide a much-needed mental and physical break from the regular academic routine, which can be tough.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there are vital opportunities for fostering camaraderie, teamwork, sportsmanship among students.
Teamwork.
Yeah. It's a chance for students to engage outside the formal classroom, build school spirit, develop social-emotional skills, experience healthy competition in a relaxed, engaging way. They also promote physical activity, offer a sense of belonging, contributing significantly to students' overall well-being, and helping create a more balanced, positive school experience. They're a vital part of holistic development.
Really building that community spirit.
Yeah.
And closely related in name, but with a distinctly different purpose, is the field trip.
Ah, the field trip.
This noun is a trip made by researchers or students to learn more about something by being close to it, learning by doing or seeing. The example highlights its educational value. Field trips offer students the opportunity to apply what they learn in the classroom to real-world situations.
Experiential learning.
Exactly. This is a stark contrast to the pure playfulness of a field day. What makes field trips such a potent tool for learning? How do they enhance understanding in ways a classroom just can't.
Well, connecting this to the bigger picture, field trips are a prime, incredibly effective example of experiential learning. Why are they so crucial, so potent?
Yeah.
They fundamentally move learning beyond abstract theory from a textbook or lecture. They let students observe, interact with, directly apply what they've learned in class to practical, real-world situations.
Makes sense.
Whether it's visiting a historical site, a science lab, exploring an ecosystem, an art museum, this hands-on experience significantly boosts engagement, deepens understanding, improves retention,
Yeah.
and often sparks new questions and genuine curiosity. It makes learning more tangible, more memorable, certainly more relevant. It effectively bridges that gap between academic theory and practical application by providing direct sensory and interactive experiences.
Can't beat seeing it for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's turn now to some foundational academic disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
First, algebra. This noun is defined as a branch of mathematics in which abstract letters and symbols represent numbers to generalize arithmetic. The example highlights its utility. Many real-world problems can be solved using algebraic equations and formulas. This is where math starts to get more abstract, sometimes challenging for students. What's the fundamental conceptual leap from basic numbers, from arithmetic to algebraic thinking? And why is this abstraction so powerful?
That's a great question. What's profoundly fascinating here is that conceptual leap from arithmetic to algebra. It moves us essentially from calculating how many of something specific to exploring how any instance of something works. Arithmetic gives us concrete tools for direct calculation with known numbers. But algebra unlocks the ability to model universal relationships, analyze patterns, solve problems not just with specific numbers, but with abstract thought and logical deduction. It's the moment math becomes a powerful language for generalized reasoning.
A language.
Yeah. This abstract framework lets us represent unknown quantities, build equations describing relationships, derive universal solutions that apply to countless real-world scenarios, engineering, physics, economics, finance. It transforms math from just a calculator into a dynamic intellectual tool for understanding the underlying structure of reality.
Powerful stuff. And as you mentioned, arithmetic is its foundation.
The foundation.
This noun is a branch of mathematics that deals with addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. The example reminds us of maybe early struggles. He struggled with arithmetic in elementary school, but improved with extra practice. The building block, truly the earliest math we learn. What's its enduring importance, though? Even now, when we all have calculators on our phones.
That's a key point. What's often overlooked but critically important here is that arithmetic, while it might seem basic, is the absolute bedrock of quantitative literacy for everyone. Why is mastering these fundamentals, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, still so crucial even with technology? Because they're essential for navigating everyday life, managing money, understanding discounts, figuring out tips, interpreting basic stats in the news.
Daily life skills.
Exactly. Beyond that immediate practicality, a strong foundation in arithmetic provides the intuitive understanding of numbers or quantities, that number sense that serves as the indispensable prerequisite for tackling more advanced math like algebra, geometry, calculus later on.
Number sense.
Without that intuitive understanding, a calculator just gives an answer without comprehension. It builds the foundational number sense upon which all higher mathematical reasoning is constructed.
You can't build a house without a solid foundation. Very well put. Now let's explore a very broad yet profoundly important field. The humanities.
Oh, the humanities.
This noun describes studies that deal with people and their behavior, such as language, philosophy, history, etc. The example emphasizes their contribution. The humanities play a crucial role in fostering critical thinking, empathy, and cultural appreciation. The study of being human. This circles back nicely to our earlier discussion about scholar. What are the unique, arguably indispensable contributions of the humanities to a well-rounded education? Especially perhaps in a world seemingly focused on STEM fields.
Well, connecting this to the bigger picture, the humanities offer unique and absolutely invaluable contributions to a truly well-rounded education. Contributions that are often distinct from, but deeply complementary to, STEM fields.
Complementary, okay.
Why are these studies so vital, especially now? They help us understand the incredible complexities of human experience across different cultures, different historical times. They cultivate critical thinking skills by teaching us how to analyze text deeply, interpret complex arguments, weigh evidence, grapple productively with ambiguity, skills increasingly valuable in a world saturated with info and misinformation.
Dealing with ambiguity.
And crucially, They foster empathy by inviting us to step into diverse perspectives through literature, history, philosophy. They nurture cultural appreciation by engaging us with art, music, ethics, different ways of seeing the world.
Empathy and perspective.
These capacities, critical thinking, empathy, cultural understanding, ethical reasoning, are absolutely essential for informed citizenship, ethical leadership, and for developing a deeper, more nuanced understanding of ourselves and others in our complex, globalized world.
Yeah.
They truly equip us to navigate what it means to be human.
Beautifully said. Now, moving from abstract studies to very concrete living situations, we have the residence hall.
Dorm life. Exactly. This noun is a college or university building in which students can reside. The example highlights a social aspect. The residence hall staff organizes social events and activities to foster a sense of community among residents living on campus. Beyond just providing a place to sleep and maybe study, what larger, often overlooked role do residence halls play in the overall student experience, particularly in fostering independence and well-being?
This raises an important question about the holistic student experience, right? The part that happens outside the classroom. Residence halls are typically much more than just places to sleep or cram.
More than just beds.
They serve as vibrant hubs for community building, social development, and as critical support systems for students, especially those transitioning to university or maybe living away from home for the first time.
Right, that transition.
Why are they so important? They facilitate crucial peer interaction, provide countless opportunities for students to build friendships, form study groups, learn to negotiate shared living spaces, develop essential social skills.
Learning to live together. Yeah. They also offer a structured yet independent environment for learning to live more autonomously, and often provide immediate access to important resources like resident advisors, academic support, counseling services, campus activities.
Built-in support.
They significantly contribute to a student's overall sense of well-being and academic success by creating a feeling of belonging and providing that built-in support network during a critical developmental period.
Right. That sense of belonging is key. Next, a very specific academic discipline, theology.
Theology.
This noun is the study of religions and faith. The example links it directly to a career path. He pursued a career in theology to become a religious leader. What's the nature of theological study? What kind of intellectual rigor does it demand? How does it extend beyond just matters of belief?
Well, what's particularly insightful here is the deep and often highly interdisciplinary nature of theological study. It's definitely not just memorizing religious texts or doctrines, though that can be part of it.
Not just memorizing.
Theology rigorously explores belief systems, sacred texts, religious practices, rituals, the historical and philosophical underpinnings of various faiths.
Right.
It draws heavily from history, philosophy, ethics, sociology, anthropology, even literary studies to provide a comprehensive understanding of how religion has shaped societies and individual lives throughout history and across cultures.
Interdisciplinary.
Very. Why is it a distinct and demanding academic field? It provides a critical academic framework for understanding profound questions of meaning, morality, purpose, existence. It often prepares people not just for religious leadership roles, like the example shows, but also for careers in education, interfaith dialogue, social work, ethical commentary.
Broad applications.
Exactly. It requires rigorous analysis, critical thinking, and the ability to engage with complex, abstract ideas and historical contexts.
Okay, much broader than commonly perceived.
Sure.
And on the scientific side of study, we have zoology.
Zoology.
This noun is a branch of science that deals with animals. The example emphasizes its breadth. Zoology is a multidisciplinary field that intersects with ecology, genetics, and evolutionary biology, the study of the animal kingdom.
Fascinating field.
Indeed. This sounds like a field that must be constantly evolving with new discoveries.
Oh, absolutely. What's genuinely fascinating here is the scientific rigor and the inherently multidisciplinary nature of zoology. Why is it so crucial for understanding the planet?
Yeah.
Well, it's essential for comprehending biodiversity, the sheer variety of life. It helps us understand animal behavior, how ecosystems function, the broader natural world, and its intricate connections. As the example highlights, it's not siloed at all. It constantly connects with other cutting-edge fields, ecology, genetics, molecular biology, paleontology, evolutionary biology.
Right.
This interconnectedness lets zoologists tackle big challenges like conservation biology, understanding disease transmission between animals and humans, unraveling evolution's mysteries, adapting to climate change impact.
Huge challenge.
It provides a comprehensive, constantly evolving understanding of life on Earth and the incredibly intricate interactions within it, making it vital for environmental stewardship and human well-being.
Fantastic overview. We have just one more section to go. Finally, we've reached our last section, section 6, unconventional absence.
Okay.
Here we'll look at a term that describes an absence, but it carries a specific, often quite serious implication. That word is AWOL.
Ah, yes. A wall.
This adjective means of a person not attending a place one was supposed to, or leaving an obligation without any notice or permission. The example broadens its usage beyond its common military origin. Last week, she went AWOL from the project, leaving her team in a difficult situation.
Right. Used more broadly now.
Definitely. How does this term convey a different, usually more serious connotation than simply being truant or deciding to skip something? What's the extra weight here, particularly in professional or collaborative contexts?
This raises an important question about accountability and responsibility, doesn't it? Particularly in collaborative settings like projects or even academic group work.
Accountability.
While AWOL certainly started in the military, absent without leave, its use has definitely expanded into civilian life. What's truly illuminating here is how it differs in severity and implication from truant or skip.
How so?
AWOL implies a much more severe breach of commitment or obligation. Not only is there an absence, but it happens without any prior notice or permission.
No notice.
And crucially, often with a direct negative impact on others. Like in that project example, going AWOL highlights a profound breakdown in communication, a perceived abandonment of duty, a distinct lack of consideration for the team.
Right, letting the team down.
Exactly. It leads to significant disruption and almost always negative consequences for colleagues, the team, the organization left hanging. It carries a much stronger implication of irresponsibility and a deliberate shirking of obligation than merely missing something, even without authorization like truancy. It signals a deeper breach of trust.
That makes the distinction very clear. Wow, what a deep dive that was.
Yeah.
Seriously, we've navigated a truly comprehensive word list today, haven't we?
We certainly covered a lot of ground. We really did. Moving from the people who shape learning, like principals and educators, right through to academic achievements like doctorates and dissertations, and those subtle concepts defining how we learn, like cognitive skills or modular learning.
Yeah.
We've explored everything from the principal's dynamic role to the precise nuance between being truant and skipping a class.
Right.
And even the structure of academic thought in fields like the humanities or theology. It's a rich vocabulary that offers some profound insights.
It absolutely is. And understanding these C1 level terms related to education,
Sure.
it isn't just about, expanding your vocabulary list.
No.
It's truly about gaining a far more nuanced understanding of the complex, constantly evolving world of learning itself. It enables you, the listener, to communicate more precisely, to articulate your thoughts with greater clarity, and importantly, to grasp deeper insights when you encounter these terms, whether that's in academic discussions, professional settings, policy talks, or even just everyday chats about schools or universities.
Language really does shape understanding, and thinking back over everything we've discussed, it just underscores the profound power of language in shaping our reality, doesn't it?
It really does.
Every specialized field, and education is definitely one, has its own unique, intricate lexicon. Mastering these terms isn't just simple memorization like cramming for a test.
No.
It's really about unlocking a more profound understanding of the complex systems, the nuanced roles people play, and the abstract ideas these words represent.
And that, I think, raises a final important question for reflection.
Okay.
How does the precise language we use to talk about education and the learning process itself actually shape our very perception of its value, its inherent challenges, and its countless pathways to personal and societal growth?
That is a fantastic question to leave our listeners with. A lot to chew on there.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the language of learning. Until next time, keep that curiosity alive and keep exploring.